Igniters! This is Michelle Quevedo, and I'll be your host. And today we have the wonderful Mr. Barry Shore. But before we go into our interview, we'd like to share a little more about Barry.
The true test of life is never in what happens to us. It is always in how we choose to respond to the situations. Words by Mr. Barry Shore. Barry is a former quadriplegic who is now swimming around the world. Known as the Ambassador of Joy, Barry Shore is a mental health activist, philanthropist, multi-patent holding entrepreneur, speaker, author, podcaster, and now our guest on Ignite Your Essence talk show. Barry Shore, welcome.
Welcome, Barry. I'm sorry, every time I'm in your presence, I want to sing. Welcome to Ignite Your Essence.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Now, Michelle, how can I make the categorical statement that all the thousands and tens of thousands of people that are watching this are all good-looking? Because by definition, if they tuned in to listen to you on Ignite TV, they're always looking for and finding the good. That's a good-looking person, looking for and finding the good. And I'm so humbled and honored to be here today and to share with everybody our message of joy, happiness, peace, and love.
Woo! Boy, I feel like you just said a blessing for everyone. Thank you so much, Barry. And quite frankly, a lot of people are tuning in for you. You have this podcast, The Ambassador of Joy. What is this about? You have over 3 million downloads. It's growing, and everybody feels joyful around you. Barry, could you share with us a little more about your podcast?
It would, with a song in my heart. The podcast entitled The Joy of Living is just that. It is designed to have people understand that you can live in joy daily, no matter the circumstances. A simple example. Here's a quick story. Imagine standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening be in the hospital totally, completely paralyzed. And it was not from an automobile accident. It was not a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me totally, completely paralyzed, quadriplegic. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home, couldn't turn over for 2 years, 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wall. So I'm a triped, not a biped. And I still can't walk up a stair myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. And it's all because of one word, Michelle. And that word is smile. Smile? What do you mean smile? Because SMILE is an acronym that stands for Seeing Miracles in Life Every Day. That's what the Joy of Living podcast is about. Training, enabling people to see miracles in your life every single day. And with that, you can not only face every challenge and not only overcome it, you can use them as stepping stones to fulfill and become the best you possible. That's what you really want to do. The best you possible.
Wow. So the best you possible, the best version of ourselves. And the way you say that is, it makes me think of the fridge, a refrigerator. You know, when you're a kid, you open up the fridge and you say, where's the milk? Where's the milk? Where's the orange juice? And then your parents say, it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. And what you're doing, Barry, is you're sharing with people how to find the milk in the fridge when it's right in front of them.
Absolutely correct, Michelle. That is so spot on. You should always recall that which gave you wonder and excitement when you were younger, because when you're younger is when wonder happens. And we sometimes people lose that as they get into advanced age. I mean advanced age being 11, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100. So you don't want to lose that SOW, that sense of wonder. What I want to talk about today is just, well, we get deeper into what you're all about, which is inner world health. It is so crucial, especially in these times. Now, health is a great acronym. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But when I ever speak, we work with what I call the 3 fundamentals of life. And these are, number 1, life your life has purpose. When you lead a purpose-driven life, you can go mad. Now that's number two, good number two, because MAD is an acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference. And number three is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Like we just said, smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or right now, you're watching this or listening to this carried over the internet, that magical, mystical, mythical platform. You ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you it's the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, Michelle, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is
I
a
like
word,
your
right?
definition better.
Right. And when the genius of all of this is when you use the three fundamentals of life, life has purpose, you go mad, unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Happy, healthier, and wealthier by listening to Michelle and the things that we're going to talk about, the 11 strategies for living in joy daily, no matter the circumstances.
You are so giving. In fact, everyone who's been on Ignite Your Essence so far has been so giving. Instead of saying, well, you want to find out about those 11 steps, just you have to go here, all these steps. So Barry, thank you so much for letting us unpack this. Can I ask one question though, before we get into that? Can joy heal you?
The simple answer, Michelle, is yes. Because if you look at my book, which we just published called The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, the opening chapters discuss the following. Stress kills. Joy heals. Everybody knows that stress is a silent killer. It may not kill you overnight, but it's what we call the cut of a thousand sighs. It's that feeling that you're helpless, powerless, that the world is falling in on you. You're overwhelmed. Matter of fact, with your permission, Michelle, I'd like to discuss stress right now because it is so pervasive. It is so important. It affects everybody's life. It is the most searched for word on the internet outside of COVID and vaccine. But when that goes away, stress will always be here. It always has been and always will, because stress has to do with what I call the 3 F's: family, finances, and fitness. Stress is always there. How you deal with stress is really the key. And when you use the 11 strategies, you can reduce, mitigate, maybe even eliminate the harmful effects of stress in your life. So let's take a look what the word stress stands for. Stress is an acronym that stands for stomach turning reality, enabling self-sabotage. Ah! Do you know what happened? I lost my job. We might lose the house. My cousin committed suicide. The kids are going crazy. They're not in school. The country's falling apart. That's stress. And that's how most people use it. They internalize it, and it causes physical and mental and spiritual ailments. Now, the real understanding of stress is the following. Stress is an acronym. It stands for stomach turning reality. Yes, you may have lost your job. You may lose the house. Your cousin did commit suicide. The kids are going crazy. They're not in school. The country's falling apart. But stomach turning reality, enabling self-success. You see, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond in any given situation. The 6 most important words that anybody could ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And that is really the key to living successfully. Stress, stomach turning reality, enabling self-success. So if we didn't have stress during COVID, we're never going to have it, right? It's multiplied, but it's how you respond in any given situation. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And that happened to me when I got out of the hospital. I must tell you a quick story. Was leaving the hospital after 144 days, and I'm a quadriplegic. Nothing in my body moved. Imagine that, completely, totally paralyzed. I had the doctors visiting me the day of me leaving the hospital, and they came in and saying, now, Mr. Shore, you're probably never going to walk again and you won't be able to move much. But we can show you how to make things so you can live a full, productive life. Now, was I listening to them? No. Was I going to contradict them? No. But in my 144 days in the hospital, I had devised for me a life-saving strategy. And it is these few words: diagnosis is not destiny.
Yes.
Diagnosis is not destiny. It doesn't matter what they say. It matters what you say. Now, does that mean that everybody who's a quadriplegic is going to walk again and run a marathon? No, but you never know. For instance, I can barely walk. Thank God I can. I vertical in the inventory with the help of my 7-foot walking wand. I don't run, but guess what I do? I swim. I learned
Around the
how to
world.
swim, and I'm swimming around the world. Thank God. I'll make the story very short. But after being involved in aquatic therapy for about a year and a half, finally I was able to move my arms over my head. And one day I did it and I kept moving. So I was doing a backstroke and I didn't want to stop. I kept hitting my head against the edge of the pool, but that didn't matter. I was going back and forth in the pool. And in 98 minutes, Michelle, I swam a mile. A mile. I didn't do that before I was sick. So I said, if I can do it once, I can do it again. I did it twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and then 4 times a week, and 5 times, and then 6 times. And eventually I was able to turn on my tummy, and I had paddles on my hands because my fingers don't close. I use a snorkel because it's hard for me to turn my head and breathe. And I have flotation devices on my legs so I don't sink and drown. But I now swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. And I've been doing that for 12 years. And as of today, I have over 8,327 miles, which means I'm a third of the way around the world. And we're on our way around the world. And we're at this moment talking with Michael Phelps' organization for him to join me in this process and to raise tens of millions of dollars for mental health activism, to get rid of the stigma of mental health. Everybody you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, we say, be kind always. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds, which is what you do, Michelle, with your world, with what you do at Inner World Health. See, Inner World Health is not just about muscles. No. They're good. They're great. But it's really about the muscle of your inner being. When you align your thoughts and your words and your deeds, you become your own spiritual chiropractor, and you make yourself better, become the best you, and then you make your family better and and your friends and the whole world just by being you. And you know that better than anybody, Michelle, because that's what you do. That's how you help people. That's how you live. And we thank you for it.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Barry. But more importantly, thank you for the work you're doing. When you talked about swimming back and forth and doing that mile, it made me think about a phrase I've heard before. And you've been around for a while, so maybe you've heard this before, and maybe you pass it on to people. And it's whenever his ship comes in, he's always at the airport. Meaning that a lot of times we demand how things are going to happen. You know, we demand, well, I want to walk, but I'm going to walk this way. And if you can't walk without aids, then an individual will say, well, that's never going to happen. But you, Barry, what you did is you said, hey, I used aids. I used flotation devices when I swam. I used a snorkel because I couldn't turn my head. You made it possible to do it. And you were able to go beyond what your vision was as to how it was going to be and add to it. I think that's really interesting. I'd like to kind of unpack that if you don't mind.
Well, I think this is so important what you're talking about, because when your life changes in a moment or a day or a week, you never know, how you respond makes all the difference. So I just want to urge people to understand what Michelle is discussing here is what we call shift happens. Now, unfortunately, Michelle, I don't know why, but people oftentimes drop the F from shift and they have the other stuff. It's shift that happens. And you don't have to shift a great deal. It's just a small mindset shift. As you say, when that ship comes in, it's already in port. Now, the question is, what are you going to do about it? So for me, you look, and when I for instance, right now people are looking at us, or if they can hear this, I'm going to tell you, I'm sitting in a chair and I'm discussing with Michelle. We're doing this over StreamYard, and people all over the world are watching and enjoying it, I trust. I can't sit up from this chair. I mean, I can bounce all day long. I'm not going to get up. Now, I have arms, so I can push on the sides and struggle to get up, but that's okay. I'm here. I can move my arms. I can smile. I can see miracles in life every day. And it unfolds for me, Michelle, to be able to open my eyes in the morning, rise my body up, and put my feet over the side of the bed by myself. That is wonderful. And to celebrate that regularly every single day and not be deterred from the things that I, in quotation marks, can't do. It's called the missing tile syndrome. There are some people that are prone to this, and you can do it. You walk into a room, you look around, wow, it looks very nice. And all of a sudden one person says, yeah, but look at that tile over there on the roof. It's out of whack, or it has a water stain, or this or that. Remember, we're talking about good-looking people. Good-looking people are always looking for and finding the good.
I love that.
Find your strengths, work with your strengths, work on those things that enable you to become, as you said so beautifully, Michelle, the best you possible. The word joy is an amazing acronym. It stands for Journey of You. That's what joy is all about. Journey of you. You don't have to have a smile on your face all the time and go party and, hey, how you doing, everybody? You shouldn't be frowning. Because if you're alive, then you have an obligation to live exuberantly. It's simple, it's statistic. Michelle, 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or listening to this, you didn't. So if you're alive, you have an obligation to live exuberantly. Because when you live life to the full, you become an example. An example is not the main thing in influencing others. It's the only thing. It's what you do, not just what you say. Now, you want to speak nicely. You want to act better. But you want it to come from your very being, inner world health. Now, health is a wonderful acronym. And again, we love acronyms because they give us an insight into the power, the positive, purposeful, pleasant essence of words. Health stands for helping everyone achieve life through happiness. Helping everyone achieve life through happiness.
I love
Now,
that.
that's a wonderful way to consider living. And that's the essence of what you are and what you're about, Michelle. We're talking about this show is called Ignite Your Essence. Well, that's what you do. You ignite people to recognize that they are a spark that can benefit everyone. And when you benefit yourself, you benefit others. You see, you want literally to learn how to be selfish on a positive level. By the way, there's an example. Now, you remember when we used to fly very often. Right now, it's all messed up because of the stuff, but we're going to get through it. 22 is going to be an amazing year of breakout, and we'll be through all this crazy stuff. The panic will go away. So you're on the airplane, you're sitting there, and somebody at the front of the plane or a video says, if we have a sudden loss of cabin pressure, somebody's going to come overhead, right? Pardon me. A breathing apparatus. And if you're traveling with a young child or somebody acting like a child, well, normally, what would you do? You take the apparatus, you put it on the child. You want to help. But we're taught, counterintuitive, put the breathing apparatus on you first. So only when you're calm and capable can you help someone else. Wow. And that's a great lesson for life, right?
Yes.
When you are calm and capable, then you can help someone else. And by the way, it is what we can share 3 practical tips and tools how to become calm and aware. 3 things to do that you'll become calm and aware. Everybody can do these. It doesn't take special equipment, and you can do it. It takes only minutes a day. So when you're ready, we'll talk about them.
Okay, those 3 calm aspects. Well, then why don't we, I want to ask you one more question, Barry, and then we can
here to serve. Yes.
kind of delve into some other things about the Los Angeles Tribune. But one of the questions was, I always like to to tell people to always find reasons to smile. I feel like we have some parallel journeys, certainly not as long as yours. And I saw that there are celebrities that are just blowing up holding your card. We have John Travolta, we have Matthew McConaughey, and they're holding smile cards. What are these smile cards about, Barry? How do I get one?
This is so amazingly wonderful in the sense that it is a worldwide phenomenon that we've been able to begin. And I'm happy to say it began before I became paralyzed, which is even better. So I'm going to hold up one of the cards and let's just see if I can do it. Ooh, yes. So
Ooh, it shows up
hopefully can
nicely.
read that. And it reads, keep smiling. Now, I like to joke sometimes. In my case, it's keep smiling because that's what I do. I swim, but keep smiling. And on the back, it has a phrase about the value of a smile. So again, smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. But suffice it to say, imagine this. In the year 2000, I got an envelope in the mail with a little letter from a friend of mine, rabbi in New York. That's sort of an oxymoron, right? A Jewish rabbi from New York. And he sends me a couple of cards that were not like this. They were just flimsy paper, and it read, keep smiling on the front, on the back, had the value of a smile. And I got it. I loved it. And I called him up. I said, this is great. Do you mind if I make some more and hand them out? So he laughed and said, well, that's why I sent them to you. I expected you to do that. So I went to a friend of mine who's a printer, and I said, Danny, print up 100 cards for me, whatever it costs, do it. And great, he did it. And I handed out 100 cards, Michelle. It took me about 5 days, and people loved it. So I went back to Danny and said, okay, Danny, let's do 1,000. And again, I was giving them out, and people now were asking, can I have 2? Can I have 5? Can I have 10? Whatever. And in less than 30 days, we gave about 1,000 cards. And went back to Danny and said, okay, Danny, 10,000. 10,000? Yes, 10,000. So he printed them up. In less than 6 months, Michelle, we gave out 10,000 cards. But here's what gets better. It wasn't just people around me. I was living in Venice Beach, California at the time, and giving out cards and people asking for more. But all of a sudden, the phenomenon hit other places around the country. We actually, one of my friends offered her talents to build a website, which still exists today, thedailysmile.com, or you just go to barryshore.com, and on the top, it has a button to click called Keep Smiling, and it will take you to the great site where you can order the cards for free. You just have to pay shipping. The cards are all free, and you can even send out cards electronically around the world to everybody, anybody. And in addition to the Keep Smiling cards, we have inspirational cards such as, did I tell you today how much I appreciate you? And things like that. So the phenomenon kept going. And after the 10,000, I went to Danny and said, okay, Danny, 100,000. 100,000.
He 10x'd it.
In less than a year, no, about a year and a half, I'm sorry, about a year and a half, we gave out 100,000 cards. And I'm happy to tell everybody that over the ensuing years, we are now past the 3 million card mark. And they're in 27 languages that all read Keep Smiling. And thank God people all around the world are ordering them. Now, in the United States, we can ship out, but shipping out physical cards overseas becomes prohibitive. So I urge people not to have to do that. Use the electronic system and send them to your friends. We have them in Chinese, we have them in Japanese, we have them in French and German and Portuguese, 27 languages. So this Keep Smiling card, when I got paralyzed in 2004, and now I'm in the hospital, I asked, remember, by the way, too interesting. I went into the hospital September 17th. So I was in the hospital through December into January during the Christmas holiday and New Year's. And I asked one of my attendants, because we had somebody taking care of me, specifically in addition to nurses, to get me in the wheelchair. And I couldn't do anything, just they moved me around on the floor. And we had a stack of Keep Smiling cards. And I asked my attendant to go room to room on Christmas Eve and the same on New Year's Eve and give out Keep Smiling cards to people. Now remember, pre-COVID by decades. But the point is that people loved it. It made a difference in their lives. It helps. I could tell you stories about people who were saved from suicide because of the Keep Smiling cards. about people whose lives were changed for the better because of the Keep Smiling cards, people who were able to go through really difficult times because of the Keep Smiling cards. And as you said, a lot of celebrities love it because it is the essence of the human condition, right?
Yes.
If you take this idea of the joy of living, can be summed up in one word, which you said before, Michelle: giving. The ability to have the Keep Smiling cards and give them to other people is really the key of life, because when you're giving and sharing something as positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant as a Keep Smiling card, you're making a difference in life. You can literally go mad, make a difference. How wonderful is that?
Make a difference, go mad. Oh my goodness. You've inspired me. The Keep Smiling cards, I had no clue about the movement that was happening. And I'm so happy to connect with that and to connect with you, because I feel that this is something that is so needed. And we need to spread this. We need to spread the smiling, spread the joy. Barry, there's a pattern here. 3 million downloads and counting for your podcast. 3 million cards, Keep Smiling cards distributed. What's next? 3 million Slay Stress books sold.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Can we manifest that?
Yeah, so we have this book, which just recently on another interview I was doing earlier today and even yesterday, the host of the show was waxing eloquent about my book and saying, everybody needs this book. Okay, so I'll say what they did. I'm not going to say it. Everybody needs this book. Why? Because it's accessible, because it has practical tips and tools, because it's really the joy of living is in the ability to slay stress. Stress kills, and be happy. To learn how to do that, again, we're talking about a shift. We're not talking about you have to change everything in your life overnight and you have to be smiling all the time. You have to do this and this and this. It's the small things in life that make a difference. You know, Michelle, there's something called ESP. People think I have, when I ask audiences, anybody here has ESP? Now, most people think ESP means extrasensory perception.
Does anybody raise their hand?
Actually, we do have some people. And I say, okay, tell me about your ESP? And then I say, everybody in the audience, everybody has ESP. When you understand what ESP is, ESP stands for everyday simple pleasures. When you can enjoy the fact, A, that you're alive, B, that you're drinking a cup of tea or coffee, that you're able to look at another human being, and even if you were blind, that you can touch another human being, that there is a voice that resonates within you in your self-talk that is positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. You can find goodness, become that good-looking person, and use your ESP, everyday simple pleasures, to enhance not just your life, but you become the best you. You touch family, you touch friends, you touch all living beings. One of the practical tips and tools we'll talk about in just a moment has to do with reaching out and touching people all over the world. And you can do it with your energy. And you know about this more than most anybody, wonderful Michelle, because that's what inner world health is all about. It's the use of energy to bring forth a change, a shift in the world. And it's done
Yes.
simply and every day.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, Barry, I think this is a good time to talk about the energy and spreading of joy, of good news, and also authentic and integrity-driven information to people and experts. And I'm talking about the Los Angeles Tribune. And before we go further, Barry, I'd like to just show our guests and our viewers exactly what the Los Angeles Tribune is about, because this is a platform that we are just so thankful to be part of. Why don't we learn a little more about the Los Angeles Tribune?
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And we're back. We're back with Mr. Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. And we're learning how to slay stress and all kinds of acronyms. I'm a little bit of a nerd, Barry. So for you to send these acronyms to me, I'm just absorbing it like a sponge. So thank you. Thank you so much for your sharing. Barry, I'd like to kind of shift things a little more back to you, if you don't mind. And one of the questions that I really wanted to ask you is, what is your formula for healing using joy and smiling? Do you have one?
So the simple answer is yes. I love the question that McAfee is posting right now about what advice we would give to stressed out, overworked healthcare workers who are overwhelmed and exhausted from the COVID crisis. So first of all, it is a vital question. And there is advice that I will give. I'm going to share. Now, SHARE, you should know, is a great acronym. It stands for Spreading Happiness and Rejuvenating Energy. Spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. One of the pities that I found in looking at and speaking with numbers of health workers during the crisis is that nobody, except in rare instances, nobody counseled these remarkable beings in how to rejuvenate their energy.
No.
And the pity is that it doesn't take pharmaceuticals. It just takes time. It takes some practice, and it can be done literally in minutes. And I'm going to give you three we won't even call them data points, three practical tips and tools to use. And this is specifically for stressed out COVID workers. And I'll share with you, Michelle, that it's not just people working in hospitals. It's people who are OTs and PTs, occupational therapists, physical therapists, who work outpatient, who visit people at home. I know this on a very personal level because for years, imagine this, years, I couldn't move. I had physical therapists and occupational therapists come to my home 3 times, 4 times a week just to be able to move my limbs and do some things and try to regain some momentum, some knowledge of my being that could respond to my mind. You know, people readily just think I'm going to take a step, and they do. Well, when you can't, what do you do then? So the ability to retrain oneself. So here's the pity. The pity is these workers were never counseled. The remedy is so wonderfully accessible that when I tell you, you're going to laugh and say, oh, come on, that's too easy. But let's begin anyway. Number one, and this plays right to what you do at Inner World Health, Michelle. Number one is breathe. Breathe. Did Barry Shore say breathe? Yes. Anyway, of course I'm breathing. I'm alive. I'm here. There's a difference with what we're going to talk about, breathing and breathing. Breathing, shallow breathing is what everybody does to maintain an existence. What we're talking about now is called deep diaphragmatic breathing. Now, most people, except for hospital workers, can't spell diaphragm, and they don't know where it is. So I just call it tummy breathing. The ability to breathe in slowly into your nose, deep into your tummy, in what we call a conscious loving breath, a CLB. Just breathe in through your nose, deeply into your tummy in a conscious loving breath, and let it out through your mouth slowly and carefully. That takes about 8 seconds. And you do this 4 times in a row. Conscious loving breath. So it takes about 32 seconds. In the space of those 32 seconds, those 4 conscious loving breaths, you will literally become calm and aware. Now that's amazing. Now, what I urge people to do, and I've trained thousands of people, thank God, is you do this twice a day, once before noon and once afternoon for 11 days in a row. By the 12th day of this practice, you will be consciously calm and aware. Now, people say, wait a minute, 11 days in a row, that's pretty easy, twice a day. You'll be amazed by sometimes day 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Oh, I forgot to do it in the night or didn't do it in the day. Never beat yourself up. You're going to use self-talk to begin again. You want to get 11 days in a row, once in the morning and once before noon, once afternoon, 11 days in a row. By the 12th day, it will become part of you. And you're going to use self-talk if you ever miss a session or a day. Self-talk stands for recognizing you're a soul, experiencing life fully, teaching always love and kindness, teaching always love and kindness, especially hospital workers going through the COVID problem, because they're giving, and it seems like they're draining their battery. And there's only two kinds of people in the world, Michelle. You're either a fountain or a drain. You don't want to be a drain. You want to learn how to be a fountain by learning to breathe in this process. And again, I've trained thousands of people. This works. I even use the M word sometimes, meditation. We'll talk about that another time. This breathing process, which takes about 32 seconds, once before noon, once afternoon, will make a difference in your life. It will cause shift to happen in the most positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant way. That's number one. That's a very practical, possible situation. Let's talk about number two. Now, number two is so powerful that when I say it, people laugh out loud and say, oh, that's easy. Yeah. But remember, we're talking about doing things consciously and conscientiously. And that is to use the two most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, every single day from now for the rest of your life. And these two words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And as he says with a twinkle in his eye, it's always possible. Imagine the following. You're going to the coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, no mask, panic's over, forget it, and you sit down, somebody brings it to you. You say, thank you. You walk in the coffee shop and you order your fancy latte, you sit down, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. You go to the counter and say, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot. We'll bring it to you. Go sit down, a couple more minutes go by, still somebody brings it to you, say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining, and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, and somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, that's right. Thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kindness, gratitude. Gratitude is that emotion which has the longest shelf life, to be able to recognize that you are a blessing being. You don't want to be just blessed. Thank God we're all blessed. We have life. We have the ability to eat. We have the ability to move, et cetera, et cetera. I couldn't do that for years. Imagine that. I had to be spoon-fed for years. I can eat now. I can pick up a spoon and I can put it into my mouth and eat. First time, a few times I did that, the spoon went in my forehead. So thank you is so important. But again, 3 times per day, consciously and conscientiously, not just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Consciously and conscientiously. That's number 2. Number 3, and people laugh when they say this, and they remember this one, but you're going to remember it because it's so wonderful. You're going to remember number 1, number 2. Number 1, breathe. Conscious loving breath. Number 2, say thank you 3 times a day, consciously, conscientiously. And number 3 is learn to love dog poop. Did Barry Shore say dog poop? Yes, dog poop. What? Well, dog poop is a wonderful acronym, Michelle, that stands for doing of good, power of one person. Power of one person. All too often, when I'm speaking to groups, whether it's 50 people or 5,000 people, people feel, I don't know why, they feel limited. They feel inconsequential. They feel like, yeah, I like what you're talking about, Barry Show, but I don't believe it. I don't think I can make it. The power of one person. I'll give you a classic example, scientific example. I hope that if you haven't heard of the butterfly effect, that you will now. So the butterfly effect has been studied for half a century or more. And it follows the migration of butterflies from northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. Let's say millions and millions and millions of butterflies clinging to the sides of the Andes Mountains. And scientists went, I don't know why, but they did this, and they measured the flap of a butterfly's wings. And it's spelled out that the flap of a butterfly's wings can affect a tsunami in Japan. In other words, cause more wind. That's a butterfly, a non-sentient being. Now imagine the power of one person using his or her energy in speaking good words, thinking good words, and acting in good, doing of good. When you do it consciously and conscientiously, the power of one person is so big that the energy cannot be stopped. There is no wall, there is no building, there is no impediment to your energy being spread throughout the world. That's how powerful you are as an energetic being. When you understand that, not just mentally, but you understand that emotionally and spiritually, then your every word wants to be rooted in good. Your deeds want to be good. Your thoughts want to be good. So you become a spiritual chiropractor. You align your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. You know, Michelle, sometimes you're out of sync and such. People go to a chiropractor, they want to, right? Well, that's the same thing we do spiritually. We want to align our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, no matter the circumstances. So again, for the harried beings that have given their all during the COVID crisis, they were never schooled. They didn't ask Barry Shore, what do you recommend? And I would have taught people, I'm teaching now, these 3 practical steps. Learn to breathe, tummy breathing, diaphragmatic deep breathing, conscious loving breath 4 times, twice a day, once before noon, once afternoon. Say thank you consciously and conscientiously 3 times a day. And learn to love dog poop. Whenever you see a dog or dog poop from now on, you don't go, you say, wow, Barry Shore said, huh? Doing of good, power of one person, you transform the world because your energy is so powerful that you make a difference.
Absolutely. I love how you brought up the butterfly effect, how we could be a tsunami of kindness. And to make that, when you talked about the recharge, oh my goodness, I was thinking about that with healthcare professionals, as you were saying, because healthcare professionals are taught, or people just being of service to help others consciously, that we're not always taught how to replenish that well. And I was thinking, Barry, don't you have something that you're offering to the audience and to those who really want to not only slay stress, but get an introduction to what Barry Shore is about? Don't you have a gift that you would like to offer to everyone?
I am honored to be able to offer on the barryshore.com website a free gift, series of videos, $50 value, absolutely free, no strings. Get it, use it. It will be of benefit to you. Because remember, everything we're talking about, as wonderful as Michelle is, and she is, and as great as you think Barry Shore is, okay, nice guy. This show is about you, YOU, becoming the best you. So go to barryshore.com, get that free gift, watch the videos, use the information, and it will help you shift and you become the fountain. You won't be a drain. I'd like to share with people something that I've been speaking about for a number of years now, Michelle, because chronologically I'm 73. So that's what people called, they don't call it old anymore, but it's a good age.
Yes.
And
Seasoned is what we call it now, Barry.
Seasoned citizen. So I don't even, yeah, so we'll talk about in a moment, but everybody has 4 different ages that live at the same time. You have your chronological, your metabolic, your mental acuity, and your SOW. But I just want to make mention for the moment, because I speak with a lot of people who, in quotation marks, think they're retired. So I want to take the word retired and make you aware of something. If we could run this video quickly, it'd be great, but we can't find it right away. Imagine the Daytona 500 or someplace like, a big race. These fancy cars, they go around the track, and they pull into their side, and all of a sudden the car goes up and they take off the old tires, and what do? They retire it with brand new Michelins, and now you go zoom around the track again. That's really what retirement is about. How you use those old treads and put on brand new Michelins and go zoom, because now you are a seasoned citizen. You have wisdom that you've gained for decades. It's now time to use it in the most powerful, purposeful, positive, pleasant way. And you can shift much more than when you could at the age of 20 or 40 or 60.
Yes.
Or 80. I work with people that are, well, I'll give you one example. My dear friend, Aida. I sang to her on her 109th birthday just a few months ago. 109. And when I called, because of COVID, I couldn't go over.
So she's still alive today.
Oh, she's not only alive, she plays the piano. When she took my call, she says, "Hi, Barry, sing me a song." Now, I tell you why I say it just like that. I forget my name sometimes. She remembers my name. She says, "Okay, is she there for more than a couple of minutes?" No, but that doesn't matter. She and I started working together when she was 95. And we were in the pool. I was learning to swim again, and such, I mentioned. And Aida at 95 was in the pool walking. And she's, after a few weeks and stuff, we're talking to each other, and she says, "Look, I'm 95. I love being alive, but I want to be happy like you. How do I do that?" And I said, "Well, I'll work with you. I have the 11 strategies, et cetera, et cetera." She said, "Great, let's do it." So we started. And as she says, one of the reasons she's 109 and happy and filled with joy is because of these 11 strategies. And her favorite of the 11 strategies, Michelle, is get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable? Yes, get uncomfortable. Now, we're not talking about putting a pebble in your shoe and walking around all day. We're talking about something simple like brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. What? That's getting uncomfortable, because what does that do? So for me, I'm right-handed. I learned to brush my teeth with my left hand. Is it easy? No. Till this very day, I've been doing it for decades, still not easy. The point is, it's not supposed to be easy. It engages my mind. It doesn't become a mindless situation. It becomes more a mindful situation. So as I urge people, if you walk out of your house, you normally turn right to go to the garage, or you're walking in a certain right because that's the way you always do it. Turn left, walk 10 yards, and then turn around the other way if it's better for you. But the point is, do something mindful. So the ability to get out of your comfort zone is really a positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant shift. Remember, shift happens. So it's really critical to learn these 11 strategies, which are in the book, The Joy of Living. And by the way, Michelle,
Yes.
because of people watching this, and if they go to my website and they send us an email, barry@barryshore.com, and all they have to put in the what do you call it?
The subject line?
Subject line. Yes. See, thank you. Subject line. Just write 22, and they'll be able to get the discount of 22% off my book, physical or ebook. So I urge people to do that because it's good for you. You hear that? It's good for you. I like 4-letter words. When the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, pray, play, swim, good, all 4-letter words. I even like the 4-letter FU word, Michelle. And I do it because of the shock value and it's fun. Now, the 4-letter word that I love using is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, I know there are people watching and they're raising their hands. Hey, Barry Shore. Fun is only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends and you point your finger, you have a smile on your face. Remember to stand and say, point your finger and say, F-U, everybody. Remember to add capital N, capital N. Where'd you get that? I said, well, I was listening to wonderful Michelle on Ignite TV, and he had this crazy guy, this nut stands for never underestimate thanking. He had this nut on. He wants to teach the world to F-U, capital N, capital N. And you'll be able to bring out all the wonderful things that we discussed at the inner World Health discussion of how you can become a lover of dog poop and saying thank you and breathing. Share this with your friends and family, and we can shift the world. There may be a joy deficit in the world right now, Michelle, especially in America, but we can bring a joy surplus without printing trillions of dollars. We don't need it. We just need people to be aware. You make a difference. You are important. Now, I want to go back to age, because age is on a lot of people's minds.
Mhm. Yeah.
As I said, everybody has 4 ages all at once. You have your chronological age, your metabolic, your mental acuity, your SOW. So I'm 73 chronologically. I am 48 metabolically because I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. My mental acuity is 28 because I work with a lot of 20-year-olds and on the internet and webinars and all kinds of things. And my SOW, people say, what's an SOW? My SOW is 8. What's an SOW? Sense of wonder. I'm an 8-year-old. Now, you don't want to get much beyond 7, 8, or 9. You get into double digits already, you can lose that sense of wonder. But maintain that sense of wonder in your life, and you will be able to be evergreen. You will be able to be that fountain of benefit. I call it a fog, a fountain of goodness. This is a good fog to live in, the fountain of goodness. You'll be able to think about retirement as having new treads and being able to do more with what you have, because you have so much to give. Be of benefit. Give is a 4-letter word. Use it well. Well is a 4-letter word too.
And your method has proven itself with that lovely 109-year-old Aida. You extended her life already 14 years. Beyond 95 years old, though, she wanted to change. She
Right.
wanted to extend that. So it's that willingness, right, Barry? You
Yeah,
attract
so
those people.
that is the key, Michelle. You are absolutely correct. The real shift in perspective is, and we're right on the cusp now, we're going to 22. I want to live exuberantly. How can I do that? How can I find that? It's available. It doesn't take much. It's a shift. It's a small shift, and it's practical, it's purposeful, it's powerful, and it's pleasant. Everybody can do this. Everybody can do this.
Wow. Everyone can do this. Barry, I'd like to kind of take you back in time, if you don't mind, because a lot of our listeners on Ignite Your Essence are also new entrepreneurs. And you have been in business for a very long time. I wanted to go back to Fenway Park.
Yeah.
And you're in Boston, you're outside, you're what, ages 12 to 14, and you're selling scorecards outside of that stadium. Okay. You're making a lot of money. What lessons have you learned about business venture, entrepreneurship that you can share to our viewers who want to be joyful and I want to be successful also in business?
First of all, thank you for the question, Michelle. You did your research. And I'm happy to tell everybody that, yes, I've been thankfully very blessed in my life. I've had a number of very successful ventures. And as a real businessman, I've had some failures, but we don't call them failures because you learn from them. But let's go back to when I was 12, 13, 14. I had I had the best job available to anybody in the city of Boston, maybe even the country, because I was selling scorecards outside Fenway Park. If you don't know Fenway Park, because you may be from another country, because you're watching this, look it up. Fenway Park is one of the most storied baseball parks in the United States to this very day in existence. It's right in the middle of the city.
It's gorgeous.
And it was not far from where I grew up in a place called Brookline, Massachusetts. But here's the real key.
Oh.
And when you're outside the park and there are hundreds, if not thousands of people streaming by you all the time, you have to get ready. You have to be able to have, as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, a big voice and to tell people what it is you have. So you used to say, scorecards, get your scorecards. I was blessed, Michelle. There was a man, his name was Elijah, who was not 10 feet away from me, where I was selling cards at this particular spot. And he sold roasted peanuts outside the park. And he was just a great guy with a wonderful smile. And he said, hey, kid, come over here. I want to teach you how to sell. Now, I thought I was hot stuff, so I could sell. What's he going to teach me? And he said, you see my peanuts here? Yeah, good. He gave me some. Actually, I bought some. He said, here's what I do. Peanuts a dime, 3 for a quarter, 15 in the ballpark. You got to give people a reason to want to buy. So for you, I would say, how much are the scorecards on the inside? 25 cents. Well, this is great. Hello. Listen what you just did. Hey, get your scorecards here. 8 cents here, 25 cents in the park, 8 cents here, 25 cents in the park. So you get people's attention. The first thing you have to do is grab attention with what they call a hook. And the next thing you have to do is give them value. So you have value. Now, in those days, even some people did want pennies even then. You have to think back 60 years ago. Forget about talking that dates, but it was a long time ago. So some people give a dime and they want to pay. Very few though. And most people just give you a dime. Okay, well, guess what? You just made 2 cents more. Now I only made 2 cents of selling the paper or the scorecard. So I just doubled my income. But here's what gets really cool. I went home and told my father what Elijah said. And he said, hey, I get an idea. We went out and we bought pencils. So he made a pencil, long pencil, number 2. And what he did is he cut them in half. So he had 2 small pencils, like, keeping score at a golf course. And he said, now you're going to sell the pencils for 10 cents each. So guess what? The pencil cost a nickel for 2. And now we sold them for 20 cents. But forget even what the amount of money we made. We were giving value. So now you have a scorecard. It's better outside than it is inside. It's less expensive. And I'm giving you a pencil that you can use to keep score. And it makes it the whole experience even better. People would come to me at my corner to buy the paper, even though they may have gone in a different gate. And the best news of all is I became somewhat of a legend in Fenway Park outside, and all the guards at the gates knew me. Now, you got to understand, this is before the Red Sox became Red Sox Nation. They were not the big hot ticket they are today. I got to see games almost all the time for free. And oftentimes in the skybox or not just the bleachers, good seats, because the stadium wasn't always filled. But it was that whole dynamic of listening to Elijah, allowing myself to be schooled, bringing value to people, and FU, capital N, capital N, having fun doing it. So I urge everybody, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be in business, and everybody's in business for themselves. I don't care if you're working you're the CEO of one of the largest companies in the world, or you're working in the mailroom. Doesn't matter. You're an entrepreneur. You are your own boss, and you're your own leader. Learn to understand, have fun, be willing to learn all the time, be retiring all the time, get new treads, and be open to listening. Listen is a great skill. Listen stands for locating insightful, sustainable, transformative energy now. You do that, everything will come to you. You'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. And who doesn't want that?
I don't know anyone who doesn't want that. Thank you so much, Barry. Barry, I want to bring up a question that Kathy McAfee had asked. She wanted me to bring up the big question. So I want to ask you this question. We've been asking every one of our guests here, and this is by Buckminster Fuller, our Buckminster Fuller, known as Bucky. That's what he likes.
Oh, I'm a Bucky fan.
Bucky. You're a Bucky fan. Okay, so here's the question, Barry, and please answer it to your level of understanding. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without ecological damage or disadvantage to anyone?
Let me give you the answer, but also tell you that Bucky Fuller is a hero of mine, because Bucky grew up in a place called Milton, Massachusetts, which is about 10 miles from Brookline, Massachusetts. So I listened to his lectures on radio growing up.
Really? Oh my goodness.
So I'm a big Bucky fan, the geodesic dome. Matter of fact, I just sent a video of the Dymaxion automobile, which everybody should know about.
Yes.
A friend of mine, who's one of the biggest people in the automotive industry, he didn't know about Bucky and the Dymaxion. So I'm going to answer very, very pointedly. So ready?
Yes.
Here is the answer. Learn to live in joy daily. Because when you live in joy daily, you affect yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, your family, your friends, and the entire world. You cannot do anything but cause joy, benefit, healing, goodness to flow from you. Understand something. I'm really focusing on this quote I read about and internalizing about humility. Humility is recognizing that you have power and it comes through you, not from you. When you recognize that you have the power, it comes through you, not from you, you
Yes.
become an influencer in life. Do it regularly.
Yes. And that's how you don't become depleted, right, Barry? That's how you become people become burned out because they think that the power is coming from them, but through you.
May I
Wow.
share one little piece before we have to close out?
Yes, please.
Okay, what I'd like to share with everybody is the distinction between excitement and enthusiasm.
Okay.
Excitement, as you can hear from the word, has two parts: EX, meaning outside, and CITE, something happening. So imagine putting a pot of water on a stove and turning up the heat, and you get it to a certain point where the water is bubbling and moving, et cetera, et cetera. And if you keep it going, then it will just keep bubbling. Now, if you were to lower the heat or remove the pot from the fire, the excitement dies down. That's what excitement is, something from the outside causing bubbling. That's what going to a game is. Oh, I'm so excited about going here and there and there. And there. After the game, oh, it was great. It wasn't. Enthusiasm is different. EN means inner. THU is the Greek definition of God. When godliness is inside of you, you have perpetual ability to be living enthusiastically all the time. Will you wax and wane? Are there times where it'll be more challenging and less challenging? Absolutely. But enthusiasm will always be part of you. You will be the fountain and not the drain. Excitement can make you into a drain because if you don't have that outside stimuli, well, what's going to happen next? With enthusiasm, it's part and parcel of your very being.
My goodness. Oh, Barry, what a beautiful gift what a beautiful gift you are, and also what you shared. I wanted to ask you another question though, Barry. There's so many questions I want to ask you. I want to ask you about your history in business as well as in the jewel business and the gem business rather and such. Would you be willing to return to Ignite Your Essence? I don't know if you realize how many of our listeners are so excited to be here. We have Ava, Christian, Believe in Yourself, Kathy McAfee, and everyone has so many things that they want to share. And we're just chomping at the bit. Would you be willing to be with us again in the future?
Simple answer is yes.
Yay! Is there an acronym for that?
Yes, of course. Matter of fact, we're going to be putting it up on my Instagram. We put up a lot of words. I call them the joy vocabulary. We take everyday words and terms and we find the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant essence of them. So we're putting up words for New Year, for yes, for, you'll see, some wonderful stuff. Just
I
go
can't
to
wait.
the
And that's going
Instagram.
to be on your Instagram. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram and like us and LinkedIn and any
Don't
place
forget
you can find
YouTube.
Barry Shore.
And Barry Shore. And of course, if you want to get the discount with Barry's new book, go to Barry at barryshore.com and type in the subject line, 22, and that'll give you 22% off of his book.
Right.
And, we have peeked in it and it is really amazing. I can't wait to delve in deeper in there and learn how to be more joyful, learn how to be like Barry, learn the secrets, because this gentleman will extend your life as we realize through this joy. Barry, I wanted to thank you so much for being here on Ignite Your Essence. Thank you for sharing your essence with us.
Essence of wonderful, Michelle. Can we do two things? I'd like to give you a hug in front of hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and leave with a blessing. So HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. So you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Roar!
Oh, there's a noise. Roar!
And our blessing is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. go mad, go make a difference.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. That was Mr. Barry Shore. And I wanted to thank everyone on the behalf of all of us and the team of Ignite Your Essence. In fact, I wanted to tell you that we would very much like to connect with you. If you have any interest of recommending someone that you feel, just like Mr. Barry Shore, or like our other guests, that you would like to have us have on this show on the Los Angeles Tribune Ignite Your Essence show, then please connect with us. Stay tuned for the credits because you're going to see a few things, also how to connect with us. Also, make sure that you follow the socials of the Los Angeles Tribune on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Ignite Your Essence, because we want to continue to bring with you enthusiastic Essence people who bring value. Value, as we learned today, is everything. So I wanted to also remind you, much like Barry talked about with his smile cards, may you always find a reason to smile. And we'll see you next week as we actually have a special guest, a guest who is going to be a new host for our show, Ignite Your Essence. And that is Michelle Wilson. But you know, any good host rarely talks about themselves. And so we're going to get an opportunity to learn all about Michelle and her passions and why Ignite Your Essence is something that she is so excited to be part of. And with that, I bid you a farewell. Remember to be joyful, as Mr. Barry Shore said. Check him out on the socials. Check out barryshore.com. Check us out on Ignite Your Essence. And don't forget to follow us as well. And at the credits, you're going to see a little bit about our issue of Leaders in Transformation. That's right, folks. As we get you ignited, we want to make sure that you continue to be lit by reading the information and about people who are not only up and coming, but also those seasoned in leadership and transformation. And with that, I bid you adieu, and may you always have a reason to smile. See you next time.